Hello, everybody. I am back. That is right. I am your host, Jessica Koch, and this is Profound Professionals. It is the interview series that has been running for 9 years now globally, and I love the map behind our guests today. Globally, we're bringing you industry experts, more than 1,000 of them. Can you believe that? I cannot believe that. And they help you improve your personal life or grow your business. Today, we have Jasmine. Welcome, Jasmine.
Hi.
She is the author of, and I love this title. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? It's Smarty Pants Travel Companion. Yes. So if you need to know something from the Smarty Pants about all things travel, you need it from Jasmine. And we have her here for you today. So welcome, Jasmine.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
It is our pleasure. So, how did travel and sharing the passion of that with others become what you focus on as your legacy for your life?
Well, my travel journey started, I was, 3 years old. My mother took me on a train to Chicago to visit family, and I had been traveling ever since. Puerto Rico when I was just young, and California quite a bit in my teenage years. And I noticed the first time that I traveled abroad that there were a few info gaps because I had,
Mhm.
gone through a few travel guidebooks and things like that, but there were still things that you don't know until you go, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I just thought of compiling everything that I could think of, and I'm still, I mean, I have two, but I'm still going to release updates because there's always new things to learn. There's so much to know. And
Mhm,
my goal was just to be helpful to, especially first timers. It can be a
mhm,
little scary if you're going abroad for the first time. And so even if you're going for a weekend or if you're going
mhm.
for a tour, it's helpful to be prepared. So
So talk to us about how you are serving and working with people. Are you just taking notes and sharing it through the guides themselves? Are you actually a travel agent? Do you have some sort of sessions or support? Or what are you doing for those people who are just diehard travelers like you? How are you working with them?
well, generally most of it comes through the books, but also I
Mm,
get people asking me kind of regularly anytime travel comes up. And then I also post on LinkedIn. Anytime there's
mm.
something, of note going on or need to know information, or I'll repost if I see something of value for sure.
Okay. So the best places for them to find you is LinkedIn?
LinkedIn right now. And then the books, of course, are on Amazon and Kindle.
Mhm. Okay. How about giving us some travel tips and advice?
Do your research. Do your research is
Mm,
the most important thing I can say. Make sure you understand where you're going, especially if you're going abroad for the first time. The
mhm,
internet, of course, is a wealth of information, travel books, movies, videos, YouTube on, any place you want to go, you can find it pretty much. But
mhm,
the planning and packing is really what I focus on, and then the criteria surrounding your location. So, for example, if you're going to Egypt, they prefer USD. If you're going to Japan, you're going to want yen. If you're going to Europe, you're going to want euros. So, depending on where you're going, it's good to prepare, bring enough, always bring extra cash if you can. If you're
mhm,
traveling shoestring, do your research and be prepared. And then also remove expectations. Remove
mhm.
expectations, have lots of patience because there will be waiting, and just practice kindness wherever you can, especially with
Mhm.
the desk agents because they're there. They can't move mountains, but they're there to help you in any way they can. Just as an example, last time we went to Italy, we experienced a worker strike, and there's really nothing that can be done about that. So we had 2 extra days, and my desk agent was a little flustered and all of that. And I just said, she's like, can you give me 5 or 10 minutes? And I'm like, how much time do you need? And she said, can you give me 20? I said, I'll give you 30 because we're not going anywhere. I said, I'll just sit over here and I'll come back up in a half an hour. And after that, she completely hooked us up. So we had VIP transport, a very nice hotel for 2 days, and 2 meals per day covered, which was great. So it's really important to understand that while you're traveling, things come up, and being kind goes a long way.
Where's your favorite place that you've been?
Well, it's kind of two. So I love Puerto Rico. I know that in places it needs a lot of work since the hurricanes are on the regular, but my family on my mother's side is from there. And so I've been a handful of times, and it's excellent. The food is unmatched. It's just great. My second favorite is Italy. So, I mean, Italy speaks for itself. You haven't had a tomato until you've been to Italy. It's just incredible. The relics are great. And then third on my favorite is Egypt. We all know why.
So, what about Ireland? Have you been to Ireland?
I have not been there yet. It is on the docket. I've been through Heathrow more times than I can count, but Ireland, we're planning on a UK tour, so we want to put in Ireland as well, so we can spend, some time there.
Do you go a few months at a time when you travel?
We usually try to do at least 2 weeks. I always tell people, save your sick time for jet lag afterwards, because it is real and it's not fun. So I always bolster myself with a week after, just to make sure that I'm back on track before I go back to work.
That makes sense. One of my favorite places is Bavaria.
I can imagine.
It's just amazing. And of course, I mean, the main highlight is the new Schweinstein Castle there, but
of course,
the villages and just the people and, the surrounding community of the castle was, the castle is amazing, but that part I loved, the little shops and the people, and that brought me a lot of joy to make that trip. So yeah, I really loved that.
Yeah, it's very interesting seeing a different area of the world and how people live, how they, the foods, the cultures, the different, religions and faiths of all of the nations around the world, and particularly in Egypt, as Egyptian culture doesn't mirror ancient Egyptian culture. They're much more religiously driven now, but they're still all about food and all about their history. So they're very, very proud of their history and all of the relics. They're constantly working on them. There's always archaeologists there on tour, and they do a lot of work. And even the last 3 years, I've been every year, and you can see the progression of the archaeologists, all the work that they've put into it. And it's just incredible. And the new museum, which is the Grand Egyptian Museum, or the GEM, it's incredible. It is so excellent, everything that they've put together, and very refined, which is really, it's great for those traveling. So it's not such a trudge through the desert.
Yeah. So. And I think to me, it's the people watching, watching the kindness of people. And you talked about be kind and patient when you travel. And, I remember looking through the shops and watching the shopkeepers interact like with each other, their staff and themselves, as well as the tourists coming in or the people looking and shopping. And
Mhm.
um, sometimes the struggle of communication, but the genuine effort to, engage and communicate. And I just find that really beautiful. And it brings me a lot of joy. It gives you hope in humanity, you
It
know.
really does. And in particular, our last trip, we went to the Red Sea and we were staying at a resort, and there was a gentleman who had an apothecary shop,
Mm,
and he just, kind of waved us in. And I didn't ordinarily want to go into a shop or anything at the time, but
good.
I just had the feeling that everything would be okay. And he was so kind and generous, and he did
Mhm.
um, a treatment for us with natural menthol crystals, and it
Yeah.
was just completely of the earth, and it was
Yes.
excellent. And so I went back and spoke with him before I left, and he was so generous, gave us hibiscus tea and all of those
And
types of
that's
things.
wonderful.
It's fabulous.
Mhm,
So good for
mhm.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those experiences are beautiful. And then talking about beauty, part of what we've always done with our show since the very first one is take a moment in the midst of our show and talk about causes our guests care about. And you're out there watching. Now you know what to do. You've been following us for so long, and we're so grateful for you. Put in the comments the causes you care about. Doesn't have to be one you started, just one maybe you give time, treasure, or talent to. And we're hoping with this segment of our show that we just inspire someone to do something good. Maybe they get excited to learn about the new cause Jasmine shares. Maybe they're reading the one you've typed in the comments, or maybe they just go, "Oh yes, I remember. There's something close to my heart, and I just haven't had the time to check in on them and inspire them to go see what they need. Maybe volunteer some time, or send them some resources that they could use." So, also spreading awareness is important, letting people know that different causes exist. Some of the ones my guests have shared, I never heard of before. And you just don't know when you hit that share button who might actually need to use that service themselves or share it with someone they know and love in need of it. So much good can come from this. So, Jasmine, share with us a cause that you care about, please.
Well, one of my favorites is Flatbush Cats. They're out of Brooklyn in New York.
Mm,
And the gentleman, he's been called the cat whisperer. So he has done a lot of work with spaying and neutering cats with
mm,
TNR,
mm,
catch and release with cats, and community cats, and lost kittens, and lost pregnant moms, and all those types of things.
mhm,
So
mhm.
he was able to create a new 501c with a free vet clinic.
Oh,
And
cool.
so, yeah, he does a lot of community work, and there's so many kittens every season, every, 2 to 3 times a year, they have an explosion of kittens. And so they're really
Mhm,
working to educate people to spay and neuter their pets. And um, also providing services to people who can't afford it, because
mhm,
vet bills can get pretty high, especially if you have a special needs
mhm,
animal. So we really love his work, and
mhm.
it's called Flatbush Cats out of Brooklyn, and they're just awesome. And they've got some great videos as well on YouTube.
Well, definitely check that out. I love that you shared that cause, but also know that in my personal community, and you should check out and see if yours has this too, often the county will actually give you a safe, humane trap to catch the animal. And our county, in addition, worked with the local shelter and had a program that would take care of all of the animals' health needs and vet needs and spay and neuter and treat and give shots. I mean, the whole 9 yards. Make sure they didn't have bugs and things, and chip them so that you could choose to adopt them if you wanted to, or make them more adoptable without having any of that cost. So they're definitely check into what your local community or causes or county has, and support the different animal shelters and things in your area. But that was a lovely cause that Jasmine shared. So we appreciate that. And we want you to don't stop typing. You have to stretch your fingers. We need some more information. We're looking for books that inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business. And also, if you're an author out there, go ahead, type it in the comments, because when people are hitting that love button, that share button, and pushing that around, we just might be sending people just the book they need for inspiration for their goals and the moment of their life at this minute. Or we might even be featuring you and pushing your book out there if you're an author and you're typing it in the comments right now. So this is a great way for us all to support one another as a community. Jasmine, we talked about your books a little bit, but let's go a little deeper. When did you start writing them? How many do you have? How many more are coming? Give us a little bit more about your books.
Okay, generally, I, excuse me, I have two. So I have my guide and my companion, and both of them are on Amazon. And the book that prompted me was Rick Steves' Europe. So he has a pretty dense guidebook on Europe, and there's a lot of info in there. Mine is basically centered on planning and packing, and so and giving you those little tidbits that we're kind of missing. And they're also soft bound, and they're not very thick, so that you can actually take it with you. There's note pages in the back and all those types of things. Lots and lots of info, just kind of compact. But definitely, Rick Steves Europe definitely gave us a lot of information. And so after that, after our first tour, we went to Italy, and there were so many things that I'm like, people need to know this, and people need to know this, and people need to know this. And so I just decided to take all of those people need to know and compile it into one. So that was
that's lovely.
the idea of that. So
Are there any more books coming, or are you just going to run new editions or updates as things come out?
yeah, I'll run new editions, and then I will have, not this year, but next year, I will have one on Japan. So Japan is coming, and then I may do a small edition of the Côte d'Azur. We'll see. I might compile that.
And I'll remind you guys out there, don't forget to follow her newsletter and her information and posts on LinkedIn. So if you're out there thinking, wow, I could inspire someone's personal life, I could grow their business, I have great information to share with the world, I'm an author, and I should be on this show. Well, reach out to our team and we'll let you know just how to get on the show. Jasmine, it's been so beautiful and lovely having you here today, sharing with us about the beautiful world of and passion of travel.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been
Well, it's
great.
definitely been my pleasure for sure. But before we say goodbye, we always like to get a final piece of information as we close out today. What do you have for us?
Be prepared and do your research.
Be
Do your
prepared.
research, and being prepared by doing research will alleviate many headaches for travel. So, and really in general. So just be prepared and do your research.
I love that. All right, everyone. Till next time, I'm your host, Jessica Koch. This is Profound Professionals. Be kind to yourself out there and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.